If you have prospects constantly telling you that they want to think about it, chances are that you're not building enough urgency over the course of your sales call, or you're not building enough of a gap between where they are right now to where they want to be, right? You're not building, there's not enough space between their current state and their desired state, their dream outcome. My name is Mike Antiles. Over the course of the past 2.5 years, I have closed just over $5 million in deals. And this YouTube channel is dedicated to showing you exactly how I've done so that you can go ahead and do the same thing to start making 20, 30, 40 plus $1,000 every single month in straight commissions. All right. So this video is really going to be strictly talking about building your prospect's dream outcome, right? More focused on where they actually want to be. All right. So before we dive into any scripting whatsoever, because the scripting, yes, it is important, but what's way more important than just the scripting is understanding the idea behind what we're doing. All right. So one of the biggest, the biggest part of your sales process is creating the gap, right? What we're doing here is we're selling change. How do we sell change? We want to first determine where the prospect is right now. And once we determine where they are right now, and we've determined their pain or their problem, then we are going to start building up where they actually want to be. I always find it really helpful to look at a visual here. All right. So the first part of your sales process is identifying their current situation. The first thing we want to do is identify their current situation. We want to identify a problem, a certain pain point, right? So right now, their current situation, their desired situation, they're pretty similar, right? Their desired situation is a little bit higher up, but it's not too far off. So the first thing that we're going to do in any sales call is we're going to dig upon their current situation, uncover certain pain points, how their current situation is affecting them, even personally, right? So what are we going to do with their current situation? We're going to bring it down, right? We're going to help them understand how important it is for them to change their current situation. All right. So what we've done here is we have started to create a gap, not by elevating the situation that they want to be in, but by first helping them understand how bad their current situation is, right? And if you do a good job, they're really going to start feeling incredible pain, or they're going to talk about how bad the pain or their problem really is. Then once we have done that, right, already here at this point, we have created a gap. Now, what we can start doing is building up their desired situation. All right. And how we're going to do that? We're going to do that by asking questions. Where do they actually want to be? How is that going to make them feel once they get there? Attach, let's say you're selling an opportunity that's going to help them make more money. Attach a certain dollar amount to how much money they actually want to make, how that's going to affect their life. What will they be able to do with the extra money coming in? Right. So what we're doing here is we are, again, widening the gap, right? Making even a greater desire for them to change. But we're not going to do it by bringing down their current situation. We are going to do it by bringing up their desired situation. Look how big the gap gets, right? So we have two ways of building this gap. Number one is by bringing down their current situation. And what we're going to be talking about in more depth in this video is building up their desired situation. Now, another thing that building up their desired situation, no one talks about this, but it's an important thing to understand. Whenever we want someone to change, think about it. Whenever you have changed ever in your life, whenever you've pushed yourself out of your comfort zone, one of the reasons it's so hard to do it is because you don't have clarity as far as to where you're going, right? If you're just going ahead and jumping into oblivion, you have no idea where you're going, it's very hard to make a change it's very hard to make a decision that's going to make a big change in your life. But when you have clarity, when you know exactly where you're going, when you know exactly what's going to happen after you make this decision that's going to change your life, then it makes it much, much easier to make a decision that's going to change your life. Right. So what we're doing here by also building up their desired situation is giving them clarity as to specifically what their life is going to look like once they actually change. And that's going to make it easier for them to make the decision to make that change in their life. All right. So again, current situation, desired situation, what we're doing here is we are widening the gap. The bridge between the two is the product that you're selling. All right. The bigger the bridge is, the more expensive the product is that you're going to be selling, or the more they'll be willing to pay for it. And if they're, let's say the product that you're selling, you sell it for $7,000. If you have built such a big bridge, such a long bridge to get there, such a wide gap, then they're going to be willing to pay a lot of money to get there, right? If you're selling something that's worth $7,000, but you have built such a big bridge that they're willing to spend $30,000, well, spending $7,000 is going to be a no-brainer. All right. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down how to build up such a strong desired situation to make the bridge as big as possible, to make the bridge as expensive as possible in your prospect's mind. Okay. So now that I wanted to first make sure that you understand the idea behind what we're going to be talking about. Now that we understand the idea of it, we're going to dive a little bit more into the scripting itself. Again, the words that we are saying are not as important as understanding the idea behind it. Because if you don't understand the idea behind it, it is the words that you're saying are not going to get you very far. Right? You have to understand the idea behind it, because you're not just going to write these sales calls. You're not just talking and without any interruptions. You're having a conversation with someone. So when you really understand why you're having this conversation the way that you are having it, you know where to take the conversation no matter what the prospect says to you. So understanding this right here, that's what's most important. Now let's go ahead and dive into a little bit of scripting. All right. So I call this right here building Heaven Island, right? Whatever you want to call it, building your dream state. Lots of people call it different things. Right. So this is, again, we have already understood their current situation. We understand their current problems. We've dug upon, we've probed on their problems. And now what we want to do is we want to ask them what their goals are, what they want to achieve with whatever it is that we're selling them, right? So let's say we're selling them a biz op opportunity. Let's say they're starting an Amazon FBA business, whatever it may be. All right. So once you actually have your business up and running, what would the goal be income wise? Like just from the business, let's say monthly. All right. Essentially, we're just asking them how much money they want to make. Now, there is a reason that we're saying monthly. It's going to be hard for someone to say, most people think about their income annually. It's going to be harder for someone to say that they want to make $120,000 a year, because $120,000 is a big number. It doesn't really feel super realistic for them. So it's much easier to say 10K a month than it is 120K a year. Little mental trick that you have right there. And then once they say to you 10K a month, then you could say, okay, 120K a year. Right? You can help them make that connection, which is not a hard connection to make. Right? But first, right, the first thing that we're going to be doing here is getting a logical answer. They want to make 10K a month. Okay, now that we know they want to make 10K a month, yeah, okay, and actually getting to the 10K a month range, 120K a year, right? When we say 120K a year, again, we're widening the gap. 120K is much more than 10K. What would you actually be able to do with the extra income coming in? Again, we're going to get a logical answer here. What most people are going to say, and everyone's different, what a lot of people are going to say is travel, spending more time with your family, maybe working a little bit less. You'll get tons of different varieties of that, maybe investing, buying real estate. People have tons of different answers here. That's in general the answers that you're going to get. You want logical answers here. And what you're going to do when you get these logical answers is you're going to dig deeper. How do we do that? Oh, how come that's important to you? Okay, so they tell you want to travel. Oh, I do more traveling. Well, we want to really help them paint the picture. Because when we help them paint the picture of what it's going to look like to travel, it builds the gap. It makes the bridge bigger and more expensive. All right, so where's the first place you would travel to? Oh, Italy. Why Italy? Oh, gotcha. So, right, so have them go into more detail. Right? Oh, that desire to do this, traveling where you're basically just like a digital nomad. Like, where does that desire come from? Right? And a lot of times what you'll get when you ask that answer is, as a kid, my parents were never able to tell me yes when we wanted to travel. And it's just so important for me to be able to provide that for my family. Right? So you really get very powerful answers there. Right? You really want to help them paint the picture of what it is actually going to look like. Now, this is, again, we're still looking for logical answers here. We want to build it, really help them paint the picture. Now, people do not buy based off of logic. They buy based off of emotion. Any decision someone ever makes is based off of emotion, right? Even getting up right now to go to the bathroom, that's an emotional decision. All right. So now once we have a logical answer, we want to help them bring out the emotion in that. Okay. So we say to them, oh, so like actually like being able to go to your girlfriend and just be like, you know what, pack your bags. I got us first class tickets to Italy. Like to actually have that conversation. How would that make you feel? And then to go ahead and buy her a coffee on, I don't know, somewhere in Italy, like what would that do for you? Like even more personally, right? So what we're doing here is we're pulling out the emotion. This is how people make buying decisions. And again, this is going to make the gap bigger, right? When we're asking these questions, we are bringing the desired situation way up here. We're making it way bigger, right? We're making the gap bigger. We are making the bridge longer. All right. So again, we're going to go into detail with the emotions that they're going to feel. And then, now that we've built up this big gap, now I always like to take a step back and show them how big the gap actually is between where they are right now and where they want to be. Okay, so making that extra $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year, what would that bring your total income to? 20K a month or 240K a year, whatever the number is, right? Okay, so what we're talking about here is doubling your income. Okay, so if you don't make any change here, if you just keep on doing exactly what you're doing right now, how long would it take you to get to the point where you're making $240,000 every single year? Oh, I don't know. It would take me 10, 15 years. Why is that? Right. So what we're doing here, we've already built the gap, but now it's like, okay, here's where we are right now. Take a look back. Take a look again to where you are right now and take a look at how big this bridge actually is. And by having them do that, it's going to be incredibly, incredibly powerful. And they're understand how important it is to make this change in their life. Right. And again, selling different products, the scripting is going to be different for everyone. If you're selling a weight loss program or a lead generation program, it's all going to look very different. Right. So if you're interested in working with me a little bit more one-on-one, I left a link down here in the description and you can book a call with me and we can talk a little bit more about what that actually looks like. I always do find it incredibly helpful when you're looking to improve as a salesperson to dive much more into call recordings so that we can really make the proper tweaks and look at your personal sales process. So if you want to learn how to make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month, go ahead and book a call with me down below and we can dive into a little bit more about what that looks like. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and click on the bell so that you get notification next time I post a video. I post these videos anywhere in between 1 and 3 times a week. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to see next, and I will see you in the next one.